My name is Tyler Braun. I'm the Director of Financial Planning with the Tranel Financial Group. A common theme and a common question we're getting from clients as we approach or step into 2025 is, what are all these tariffs about? And it's just something that you hear in the news all the time, that word tariff. If we look back to 2017, 2018, when President Trump came into his first stint as president, what we saw tariffs getting explored, and really tariffs used as a negotiating tool to bring other countries to the table to talk about trade agreements, to talk about different ways to import or export or help control that narrative. This time around, we're talking more broad tariffs, and that's what you're hearing in the news, the term universal tariff that's being explored. So what a tariff is, in theory, is if we're importing product from another country, right, there's a tax that is charged to that country, right, for importing that product. And when I say country, it's the company that's associated with that. So the issue behind it and what economists fear and talk about is with a tariff, it can increase inflation. And you think to yourself, well, how does a tariff increase inflation? Well, if a company, let's say Apple, for example, and this is purely just an example, is importing some widget that they need to put into their phones from China, and all of a sudden there is a tax on that product that's being brought over from China, and let's say it's a 25% tariff or tax, typically that company, Apple in this example, is increasing the cost and handing that on to the consumer. So what it is it's a forced stream of inflation, meaning the cost for that product goes higher. Now, the tariffs are a lot to unpack. And really the biggest piece that we're looking at in addition to is there's also tax incentives that are being proposed by the administration going forward that weren't there in 2017 and 2018, meaning that they're looking to actually possibly reward corporations for bringing jobs back into the United States by reducing corporate taxes further from 21% to something closer to 15%. A lot of this has to be announced and structured. Right now, there's so much unknown with the tariffs, other than they're being talked about. And once we start to see those pieces laid out is when you start to formulate a plan to get all of your, as we call it, ducks in a row, making sure you're prepared going forward and protecting yourself the way you should be.